After suffering a heartbreaking defeat to the Aggies at home last weekend, the Irish find themselves at 0-2 and on the outside looking in on the college football playoff. The real season begins tomorrow when the Boilermakers come to town to try and play spoiler. All of that and more. I'm your host, Trey Cody, and this is Shamrock Sports. Welcome into the second floor of the Duncan Student Center. I'm your host, Trey Cody, alongside Ethan Laszlo. Debut on Shamrock Sports, and then my main man, Leo Romano. And gentlemen, let's get right into it. Obviously not the result Irish fans wanted last weekend against the Aggies of Texas A&M. A lot to take away from it. Ethan, what do you think was your biggest takeaway?
Well, Trey, the biggest thing for me, and I think a lot of Irish fans, was that the defense is still the problem. You saw it against Miami, and you really saw it against Texas A&M. Put simply, you can't score 40 points and lose a football game. The last time Notre Dame gave up 40 points in regulation was back in 2019 when they went to Michigan and got thumped at the Big House. It's been 6 years since Notre Dame gave up 40 points in a regulation football game. And even worse, the offense was clicking even better than it was against Miami. And that's with some people thinking that C.J. Carr may have even been tipping his plays.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The defense is no good. I took some notes here after rewatching the game. 3 big takeaways. Number 1, the defense is not very good. Number 2, the defense is not very good.
Can I guess what the third
Yeah, you could probably guess what the third one
Probably
is.
the defense isn't very good.
Yes, the defense is not very good. As you mentioned, right, the last time they let up 40-plus points was in 2019 at the Big House against Michigan. I was unfortunately at that game. That was no fun. I was out of there by halftime. The weather was terrible. The people were just mean, right?
It's Michigan.
Yeah, it is Michigan. But no, to answer your question though, Trey, my biggest takeaway is that we have to win on Saturday. Notre Dame has to beat Purdue, right? There's no way around it. But it is encouraging that they are the first 0-2 ranked team in, I think it's 27 years. It really shows that Notre Dame is on the right track, and there's a lot to look forward to, especially with the improvements in this.
Absolutely. Yeah, Leo, you hit on it there. First ranked team since 1988, and that was once again the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, sorry, that would be 37 years.
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time. And clearly, we know what the issue is, and that's probably going to be on the defense. But my question is, what can Marcus Freeman and this coaching staff do to kind of turn things around? A lot of season left. What is the biggest way that the Irish can fix their problems?
Well, I think the biggest fix, even though a lot of people may think that it needs to be in the secondary, the biggest fix actually needs to be in the front 7.
Yeah.
Notre Dame needs to put more pressure on opposing quarterbacks. You have 2 of Notre Dame's captains in the front 7. You have Drake Bowen and Donovan Heinisch. But in 2 games, Notre Dame has only achieved 1 sack and 4 tackles for loss. Both are in the bottom of the rankings in the entire FBS. The defensive backs, okay, they haven't been perfect, but you also can't expect any defensive back, period, to cover a wide receiver for 7 seconds, if not longer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's exactly why Mario Craver was able to go off against this secondary. When the quarterback, Marcel Reed, has plenty of time, 7+ seconds, you're going to get a receiver who puts up 7 receptions, 207 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's just going to happen. So I think moving forward, Chris Ash has to really focus on creating turnovers, right? And it's going to start in the trenches and eventually to the backs, to the secondary. It's going to be really important. You know, I really wish that we still had Al Golden. I really wish.
I think most Irish fans
I think most Irish fans do. And you know, I was thinking about it. Joe Burrow's hurt. So I don't really know if the Bengals are getting anywhere this season. So maybe we could give him a call. Maybe
blank check.
You know, maybe he just talks to Chris Ash and start to.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
Little one-on-one.
That's what they need. Yes, exactly. A little one-on-one,
Exactly.
face-to-face. I think that'll help.
And I think the main point there is that there's a lot of season left, right?
There's a lot of season left.
2 games down, 10 to play, and the Irish schedule gets noticeably easier. Playing 2 top 10 teams in your first 2 games is really tough. And clearly the Irish are facing the consequences of tough schedule.
Absolutely.
But a lot of year left. What is your overall outlook on the rest of the season now in light of this 0-2 start, Ethan?
Well, I think that there's still a lot of optimism, Trey. Notre Dame, like you said, has played 2 top 10 teams, and they've lost by a combined 4 points. 3 to Miami on a last-minute field goal and 1 point to A&M. in a game that, frankly, should have gone to overtime if it weren't for one special teams error. Now, with those 2 losses, we've seen last year that Marcus Freeman can absolutely rally the troops for the second half of the season. You saw that after the loss to NIU. Notre Dame went on to make a national championship appearance. He's proven that he can get this team together and get them rolling when it counts. And especially now when you're seeing a lot of improvement from CJ Carr just over the course of 2 games, and you saw the first true glances at Notre Dame's 2-headed monster in the backfield against Texas A&M. Heck, even Jeremiah Love got a passing touchdown instead of a rushing touchdown for once.
Yeah, I do have to acknowledge that Mike Denbrock's play calling was a lot better in week 3 against A&M than it was week 1 at Miami. You hit it perfectly, though, on the nose, Ethan. This team is a lot like last year in the terms that they need to win out. But I see it a little bit differently as well, right? I rewatched the Here Come the Irish documentary on Peacock, and I noticed that the NIU game was just a fluke. There was a lot of overlooking the opponent, a lack of preparation issue, and all of the above. This year's a little bit different. The defense has given up 34, 35 points a game. That's not good, right? We've already addressed that earlier in the show. So if it was 21-20, maybe I'm looking like, okay, this is last year, but it's really not. And as I'm going to say time and time again, the playoffs start with Purdue tomorrow.
Absolutely. It feels like the Irish, bare minimum, have to win out to make the playoff, and that's even to give themselves a chance.
Absolutely.
So I guess now in this modern era, everything is, we're looking at the end, right? We're looking, can this Irish team still make the playoff? Is it even possible? Like I mentioned, that lackluster schedule. Let's say some of those good teams, you say a USC ends up losing when they shouldn't. Maybe they're not ranked. NC State maybe falls off. Syracuse already not looking so great. Some of these teams that the Irish have to face don't really hold a candle to Miami or A&M. Do you guys think that even if the Irish win out, or let's say maybe you don't even think they have to, but what is the scenario where this Irish team can make the CFP, if it's even possible?
Well, a lot of people have said that Notre Dame's non-conference affiliation really hurts them in the college football playoff race, which I won't disagree with. But I still think that if Notre Dame wins out, you could see them have 2 ranked wins. There is a very distinct possibility that NC State comes into South Bend 6-0. USC has already gotten themselves into the top 25. So once again, there's a very good chance that they could come into South Bend ranked. And also, with those 2 possible ranked wins and those 2 quality losses to Texas A&M and Miami, a 10-2 Notre Dame will be very hard to deny.
Yeah, it'll be very hard to deny. And look, I don't care about the resume. If you're Notre Dame and you win 10 in a row, you're getting into the college football playoff. Enough said. Especially with the 2 losses coming in the first 2 games to 2 top 10 teams. 2 teams who might even also make the playoffs, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And now, to answer your question even more directly, you said, will Notre Dame make the playoffs? Is there still hope? Well, there's a 5.9% chance. And I crunched the numbers. There's a 5.9% chance for a flush in Texas Hold'em, which I've gotten before. Mostly it's against me, and I lose some money that way. That
was me last night.
5.9% chance of becoming a millionaire. I'm sure we all know a few millionaires, so again, good chance, right? Having green eyes, we have a few folks on set with green eyes, I'm pretty sure.
Basically, you're saying it's a lot.
So I'm saying it's a lot, except there's also a 5.9% chance of me folding my laundry on the same day I wash it. And you know what? My mom's listening, so I do that. So there's a good chance. There's a good chance.
So we're locked in.
A lot more football to cover tonight, gentlemen. But let's talk about a team that's doing all the right things. Let's talk about a little bit of women's soccer. Thomas Payton, take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Fallon. I'm here with Payne Dimeback, and we're joining you from the end of the Cheer Her Name Notre Dame women's soccer game, where the number 6 ranked Irish just knocked off the number 3 ranked Duke Blue Devils.
Both teams very aggressive, but the Irish were way more aggressive than Duke, taking 10 shots, whereas Duke only took 3. We also were able to score goals from all around the field.
The Notre Dame women's soccer team started off very strong in this match, getting a 3-0 lead on the Duke Blue Devils in the first 60 minutes of the match. Goals were from Engel, Metranu, and Chuck.
The Blue Devils also attempted to make a comeback with 2 shots on goal by Rader and Maristrup. However, the Notre Dame defense was too much, and the Blue Devils fell to Notre Dame 2.
As I mentioned earlier, this was Notre Dame's Cheer Her Name soccer game.
Cheer Her Name is very important to the Notre Dame community because it celebrates women's varsity athletics. This is their current 50th year doing this program, and it's bigger and better than ever.
Be on the lookout for Notre Dame women's volleyball team as they host the Michigan Wolverines on Friday night for their own Cheer Her Name celebration.
Thank you so much, and now back to Trey at the desk.
Thank you, guys. Now back to the gridiron, and like I mentioned earlier, the real season feels like it's starting tomorrow when the Boilermakers come to town. And to talk about that, let's bring in our expert, Boilermaker Ben. What's happening, man?
Well, Trey, you know, while I might have the Cavs to portray a mean Purdue Pete out on the sideline, I don't know that I love the moniker Purdue Pete. Either way, it's great to be with you here today.
Okay. Well, Ben, that's all right. That's all right. Maybe you're not Boilermaker Ben for more than just this 1 week. Let's dive right into it, shall we? This was a game last year where the Irish won 66-7 down in West Lafayette, and all the Irish fans are wondering, how similar is this going to be to last year? Is this a different Purdue team? Is the Irish obviously coming in? What's your outlook here?
Well, Trey, I mean, I don't mean to make Irish fans nervous, but this is a very different Purdue team than we saw last year down in West Lafayette. 66-7, not exactly a close ball game there. This Purdue team playing with 52 transfers, 52. An NFL team. Roster full of transfers for this Purdue team here. Not really what you would expect in college football, but they're trying something new. They got a new head coach. Barry Odom has instilled a lot of new practices. This is going to be a different Purdue team. However, the biggest difference between this year and last year is where the game's played. The Irish were down in West Lafayette last year. This is Purdue's first away game of the year this year, coming into South Bend, the cathedral of college football. A tough start for them. You know, the 3-0 team that played USC close last week, 16-point loss there, very respectable, you know, blowing out Ball State, comfortable win over Southern Illinois. This is a different level for this Purdue team. This is a different level of talent that they've seen, and it's on the road. So it's a big difference between last year, but maybe going to see a similar outcome here, Trey.
Okay, similar outcome. Well, that leads me right to my next question, Ben. What can Notre Dame fans expect to see tomorrow? We'll get into score predictions a little bit later off in the show, but just in terms of how the game's going to flow, what are you thinking?
Well, here's the thing. The biggest difference, in my opinion, about this Purdue team is the discipline, is the coaching. These players want to play for Barry Odom. This is a team that last year on third down was 31% successful, fourth down 27% successful. This year, those numbers are up to 50 on third down and 80 on fourth down. This is a very different team, averaging 5.5 penalties last year to now just 3. This team is poised. They're playing a much more controlled style of football, and they know what they're doing. They want to play for Odom. However, the biggest matchup here, and I'm going to talk about it because it's the one, the defense of the Irish against the offense of Purdue. On the offensive side of the ball for the Irish, you're gonna expect to see some points this week. C.J. Carr should have much more time in the pocket. There should be much more open running lanes for Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. However, on the other side of the ball, it's going to be very interesting. This Purdue offense is high flying. Ryan Brown is averaging 270 yards through the air per week in the first 3 weeks of this season. They got transfer Nitro Tuggle from the Georgia Bulldogs.
What a name.
What a name. All-time college football name, but Georgia transfer. He has been explosive, total firecracker. Armand Branch, Michael Jackson III. This is a explosive receiving corps for the Boilermakers this year. It's going to be very interesting. That is going to be the biggest matchup that I'm going to have my eye on. I think a lot of people will too. Hopefully the Irish against a weaker Purdue run game on the front seven are going to be able to hold up. But Noah Don Schuler in the first half. Leonard Moore's a little banged up. Christian Gray, you know, people like to call him a bit of a question mark. So that is going to be the biggest thing to look at for me on the field this week.
Hopefully going to see a positive outcome for the Irish tomorrow. Get it back on the tracks a little bit. Boilermaker Ben, I don't think the moniker is going to stay. This might have been a one-time thing.
It could be a one-week thing. You know, I'm happy to do it for this week, but it can go back to regular.
I think we can move past that, but thank you for your time, Ben. Let's pass it off to some more people. They're going to be on the call tomorrow. Ryan Murphy and Joe Tunney talking about the game. Ryan, Joe, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Outside Notre Dame Stadium here, Ryan Murphy with Joseph Tunney. We'll have the call for you on WVFI Sports tomorrow. We all know what happened last weekend against Texas A&M. Lots to fix up for Notre Dame, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Joe.
Yeah, I think it mainly starts with pressure, rushing the passer. That's the forefront of Notre Dame's identity defensively. Rushing the passer, they make mistakes, which Notre Dame's opportunistic defense can capitalize on. I'm really looking for interior and exterior defensive line pressure. Really anyone on this defensive line to step up, whether that be Boubacar Traore, whether that be Donovan Heinisch, whether that be Jordan Botelho. It could be anyone, but they need to generate more pressure than what they did during these first two games versus A&M and Miami, in which they only generated 1 sack combined.
Yeah, simply not good enough from that Irish defense. On the other side of the ball, Purdue was the team that really faced Notre Dame's wrath after the Irish lost to NIU to start last season. We expect this Purdue team to be a little bit more up for the fight, maybe a little bit better than they were last year.
Absolutely. Purdue is much better than they were last season. Granted, Purdue only won one game last season, so the bar's set very low there. But they've injected a new culture of energy into this program. Their new head coach, Barry Odom, came from UNLV, brought the most transfers of any Power 4 team with him, and they look quite competitive against USC in their 33-17 loss, a couple red zone interceptions. Maybe that game could have turned out a little bit differently. But that being said, it's still a long ways away from what Notre Dame is at right now, coming from a one-win season last year. But I do expect Purdue to be excited to relish this opportunity in a rivalry game to come into Notre Dame Stadium with the potential of knocking off a ranked Notre Dame team.
That's right. Notre Dame comes into this game ranked number 24. The last team to ranked in the AP poll after starting the season 0-2, the 1988 Michigan Wolverines. How'd they end their season?
I think they won the Rose Bowl.
That's exactly right. Michigan went all the way to the Rose Bowl that year. If the Irish are ever going to make it that far, it has to start tomorrow afternoon here at Notre Dame Stadium against Purdue. And we'll have the call for you along with Kira Halfman. She'll give you the pregame show at around 3:15. Then we'll take it from there with kickoff at 3:30. Hope you join us on wvfi.nd.edu. For Joseph Tunney, I'm Ryan Murphy, sending it back to the guys at the desk.
Big thank you to Murph and Money Tunney. They'll be on the call tomorrow. You can catch them at WVFI Sports. They'll be calling the game live from the press box. Here I am with another member of student media and one of the student section's main contributors. If you're not aware of what this is, all student-made little game day pamphlet. Pretty awesome. And we're diving into page 8 and 9 here. Fish's Fundamentals, live in the flesh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Live in the flesh with Michael Fishburne. Let's get right into it, Mike.
First and foremost, feel free to get a cover of those. There's hundreds of them around Duncan Student Center. We broke this down for a reason. We broke it down for you guys. So grab one, and I'm happy to talk about this. Now, I just talked about having hundreds of copies, hundreds of covers of these. You know what? Maybe we need a new copy and some new coverage on this defense because it's looked pretty bad. All right, so let's start right here. I want to draw you guys' attention right here to number 1, Mario Craver, and number 21, Carson Hobbs. I'm going to let it run for a second, okay? Mario Craver is coming over and motioning on this backhand side. Hobbs tells Jalen Stroman, our number 7 safety, to come down and motion down, and he does. But look, he starts to set his feet right here, okay? That's a telltale sign in college football that something bad is about to happen to your defense. Mario Craver runs right behind him, uncovered. Christian Gray is on that top end of your screen right there, trying to lock up his guy, and Mario Craver runs free. Marcel Reed makes the correct read and throws an absolute dot to Mario Craver, and now I'm going to show something that's going to disappoint a lot of Irish fans. It disappointed the majority of them on Saturday night. You see 3 guys right here. I'm going to run you three options, okay? What do you think? A, does Jalen Stroman get this tackle coming in like Superman? B,
one would think.
Does Carson Hobbs make the tackle coming in for the support?
Also very likely.
C, does Christian Gray just lay him out?
I mean, he has to, right?
No.
Can I go with option D?
It's option D.
3 missed tackles.
Notre Dame's defense has 3 missed tackles, and God, is it pitiful.
2.
Whoa!
I guess we'll count that a miss.
All around, really bad for the Notre Dame defense. Mario Craver runs 86 yards for the touchdown when Notre Dame had a lot of momentum to start the game off of that punt block. 7-0, now it's 7-7. I'm gonna move a little bit forward later in the ball game, okay? I'm gonna move to a crucial 3rd down play right here. Marcel Reed, I'm pausing with the ball in the air, but that doesn't matter. Marcel Reed has an open pocket. Again, we were talking about this. Defensive line not getting any pressure. No matter how good your secondary is, if you have no pressure on this defensive line, some guys are going to come open. Guess who comes open again? Number 1, Mario Craver in the middle of the field. Now, I'm going to pause it right here. Christian Gray looks like he has some perfect leverage to come peanut punch that ball. Chicago Bears fans, I know we have a lot of them in South Bend. I know you're not one of them.
Pack, go,
but
baby.
Hey, Peanut Tillman, he mastered that peanut punch. You know who didn't?
Christian Gray.
Okay? He comes in and gives him a little side hug. Gotcha, bro. Nice catch, right? So, Mario Craver, crucial 3rd down, gets a catch. Notre Dame's up by 10 here, okay? Now look, here's a little bit of a bright side. Drake Bowen lays them out. Great. But you know what we shouldn't do when we give up a 3rd and 8 when we're up by 10 points? Celebrate. You know what Drake Bowen does? Celebrate. What are we doing? What are we doing across this defense? There's no unity. There are a bunch of individuals not playing together, an entirely different defense from last year. The last play I'm going to draw is literally the next play for this Notre Dame defense. Again, same thing with failure to pick up guys in man coverage. Watch Ruben Owens II right here to the left of Marcel Reed. He comes out of this backside right here. with nobody covering him. Carson Hobbs, right here, lets up inside leverage. Another telltale no-no in college football. Ruben Owens a second. It gets wide open. Zips it down the field. Notre Dame up by 10, only about to be up by 3. They follow that up with a touchdown. Now, quickly, I'm going to go through Notre Dame's offense here. Now, that's been something we've talked about briefly, is what is CJ Carr going to do, okay? Now, you know what Mike Denbrock does? Opens the playbook. We talked about that 2 weeks ago against Miami. He didn't open the playbook. He does here. He runs a flea flicker pass similar to what Faison ran against IU. Sorry, D-Wall, but watch this, okay? Hands it to Jay Love, hands it to Faison. Faison does a flea flicker pass right there. CJ Carr looks confident, poised, zips an absolute bullet down the left-hand side to Eli Rarinan. You know what? This Notre Dame offense did not lose this game for the Irish. This is right after the touchdown from Mario Craver that I was so disappointed about. So many fans were disappointed about. We're already at their 5-yard line. Notre Dame's offense played good football. Like Ethan said earlier, Notre Dame's defense allowed 40-plus points. Last time that happened was 2019. That's uncharacteristic for the Irish. I have 2 more offensive plays I'm going to show quickly. Okay? We talked after Miami about something we didn't like to see was Notre Dame's run game, how kind of absent it was against the Hurricane. Was it not? Absolutely. Yeah. Now let's look at Jadarian Price, okay? Notre Dame brings in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in that circle. There's 4 on the out-hand side. The offensive line and Eli Rarinan do a great job of drawing every guy towards the middle so Jadarian Price can do what he does and bounce it outside. Jadarian Price runs, and this is the Notre Dame football I love. You think he tackles him? No. He doesn't.
Have you seen that man's biceps?
Have you seen that man's biceps?
That man is not getting
tackled. Do you think these guys tackle him?
I've seen that man's biceps, so I'm going to say no. No, they don't.
They don't tackle him. That's the Notre Dame football we love. That is the Notre Dame running back core that we love. That is Notre Dame football. Coming back 28-24 for a physical score on offense. Looking phenomenal, okay? Now, another play I'm going to show is CJ Carr. Does Mike Denbrock trust him? I'm going to let this play run for a second. Does Mike Denbrock trust CJ Carr? And it looked evident this past Saturday night that he did. 3rd and 7, tie ball game, 8 minutes left to go. Does CJ Carr make the throw? Does he make it across the middle? Does he make a check down? No. He does what Notre Dame hasn't done in a long time and throw it to a boundary receiver for a physical catch in a crucial moment. Look at the UVA transfer, Malachi Fields. Toe-tapping catch right here. 2 defenders on him. Carr zips the ball to him. Perfect ball, perfect catch. Notre Dame offense put them in the perfect position to win, and guess what? Notre Dame didn't. But fundamentally, Notre Dame's offense looks great. I have a lot of hope for Notre Dame's offense, Trey. I hope you do as well.
Absolutely.
But you know what I have very little hope for right now is Notre Dame's defense. Now, that wraps it all up for me, and we're going to get you guys going to some sham bookie and some predictions right after this. Let's hope that the Notre Dame defense does better.
Here at Shamrock Sports, I pride myself on knowing a lot about, well, sports. And I mean all sports. I think some of the people around the office have started to lose their touch a little bit.
Have you been reading up on any lines for the Texas U18 badminton tournament this weekend?
Absolutely not.
What?
No, what?
You don't think the boys from El Paso got a good shot at it this year?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, you got to figure it out, man. Come on. We do this.
Murph, just the guy I was looking for.
Okay, so you think Mo Kabasi can go back-to-back in the Yemen camel jumping this year? I'm thinking about sprinkling a few bucks on it.
What are you talking about?
Mohamed Kabasi? Come on, man. I thought you knew. No. Dude, no one in this office. Are we serious? Kira. Hey. Okay, as a Michigander, I want your opinion on this. Michigan cherry pit spitting contest. You like Lisa Fitzgerald at all?
What's that?
Well, you live there. You don't know the Michigan cherry pit spitting?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm so sick of this club. Welcome back, gentlemen. Let's wrap this thing up. Time for our favorite segment. Also, big part of the student section. Leo Romano and I taking on Sham Bookie, but we're going to get all 4 opinions today. Favorite part of the show. Leo, what's your pick for this week, man?
Yeah, there's a lot of good lines out there, a lot of great games, that means. One game stood out to me in particular. Shout out D-Wall, by the way. It's the IU-Illinois game. It's a top 20 matchup at IU. I'm shocked that game day's not there. They decided to go down to visit the 1-2 Florida Gators and the undefeated Miami Hurricanes. But that's not my pick today. My eyes are on big noon kickoff between Michigan State and USC. USC is, I never thought I'd have to say it, a team that we now have to root for. Hurts to say it. Well, a little bit up until the game, right? We need to build a resume. So I got them winning that game, but not covering. Give me Michigan State at plus 17.5.
I like that pick. That's a good pick, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan, what do you got for me?
You know, Trey, this week you got a big SEC matchup. The Auburn Tigers visiting the Oklahoma Sooners in Norman. Jackson Arnold for the Auburn Tigers has a big prove-it game going into his old stadium. But also you've got John Mateer, who appears to be an early Heisman frontrunner. Give me the Oklahoma Sooners to cover -6.5.
I also love that pick. I think we're 2-0 today. Fish, come on, give me something I can get behind.
You know, Leo talked about it earlier. We love you, Dylan Wallace. I don't love your Hoosiers, but you know who I love this week? I do love those Hoosiers just for tomorrow. Give me Indiana money line. I expect them to be the Illinois Fighting Illini at home, primetime football. Number 22, Indiana hosts top 10 ranked Illinois. They're hot right now. They're 3-0. I know they haven't played anyone, but Fernando Mendoza out of Cal. You saw him last year on College Game Day when Miami went out to Cal. He looked pretty solid. He's got 720-plus passing yards so far off a 72% completion. He's consistent. You know who IU also has, who I love? Pat Coogan, man. You know, I could never root against that guy. I was at the Georgia game, and I saw his pregame speech. It just fired me up. And you know what else fired me up? Him for IU, money line, Indiana Hoosiers. Give it to me, D-Wall. Have some fun tomorrow, brother.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. I'll bring us home on the Sham Boogie front. Give me TCU taking on the Mustangs of Southern Methodist. TCU at home, -6.5. They're going to get it done. Sonny Dykes has those boys playing well down there. Beat the brakes off of Bill Belichick in his first ever college game.
Oh, that was embarrassing.
SMU coming off a home loss to Baylor. Give me the Horned Frogs, baby. 6.5 points. I think they win by double digits. Time for some little game predictions now, baby.
Yeah.
Irish, 3:30 tomorrow against the Boilermakers. Big game for the Irish, trying to get back on the tracks. Barry Odom's trying to get the Boilermaker culture going. Leo, what are we thinking?
Yeah, first of all, I want to preface with that. I think I was the only one that got last week games correct. I
Sorry,
did pick A&M.
I didn't want to pick against the Irish.
Yeah, I didn't want to either, but something was telling me that we would lose that game. Anyway, focusing on Saturday because that's what's most important. That's what's in front of us. I got Notre Dame winning this game 52-14. Not as big of a blowout as last year, but as Ben said earlier, Purdue's got a better offense. They're going to score a few more points, one more touchdown, really, not that much. And Notre Dame's going to walk out of there with a win. Trenches are going to start to win. Defense going to start clicking, and it's going to be a fun Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to my pick, I want to say Ben Rohr's bold prediction, missed extra point for the Boilermakers. They're going to end with 13.
I hope that's
somewhere in the 40s for the Irish. Missed extra point for the Boilermakers. So 40-something to 13 from Ben Rohr. My personal pick, I'm going to go with 48-17. Fairly similar to Leo, maybe a little bit less optimistic, but I think the Irish are going to get it done fairly easily. They're more physical, better. I think Chris Ash really has to prove himself in this game, and Purdue's offense, while much better than last year, doesn't really hold a candle to the physicality that the Notre Dame front seven can bring and hopefully will bring. If this game, you see Purdue in the 20s, I think there's some serious questions for Chris Ash, even more so than there already were, which we already discussed today.
Fair enough.
Give me the Irish, 48-17.
Well, Trey, I know you said Purdue in the 20s, maybe a bad sign, but I am going to take the Irish by a score of 45-21. A little bit closer than Trey and Leo predicted, but I think the offense continues to click, but I think the defense is still trying to work out some of those wrinkles that you've seen the last two games, but Notre Dame still gets it done, 45-21.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel a little bit like Leo, maybe a little bit like Murph. I was tempted. You know, I was tempted to take the Purdue Boilermakers. They've always been a team to pull off the upset.
Well, I wasn't tempted this week.
I was tempted. I'm tempted. You know, Notre Dame's 0-2. I talked about how bad Notre Dame's defense looked. You know, Browns looked good for Purdue, but it's Purdue. They're our little brother. They're our little brother in Indiana. Boilermaker Ben, he knows Boilermaker ball. But you know what? Give me Notre Dame. I'm wearing the socks. Give me the Fighting Irish to win 38-17. I think a large reason why Notre Dame scored more than 40 points, or 40 points exactly last week, was because we were forced to. I don't think we're going to feel forced to this week. I don't think Notre Dame is going to feel the same exact pressure that they felt. I think Purdue's going to get 17. I think our defense is going to figure itself out a little bit. With Don Schuler not being there in the first half, maybe they get some early points. But I think overall, Notre Dame's going to win. Not cover, because the spread is 25.5, I believe, but win by 21, 38-17.
There you have it, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, Notre Dame tries to get back on the rails against the Purdue Boilermakers right here at Notre Dame Stadium. Make sure you're tuning in. From everyone here at Shamrock Sports, Leo, Ethan, Fish, Boilermaker, Ben, everyone behind the scenes, thanks for your help today. Check us out next week, same time, same place. This is Shamrock Sports.